Hey everyone, and welcome back to Gearblocks. In the last two episodes, I've started working on a transport truck, just a normal conventional style. I used the cab over dump truck thing in this one. Ooh, I used the tipper truck for the cab dimensions, and then I'm just building my own body based on a Kenworth W900. Um, The main thing I did in the last episode was added two motors and a axle that is trail not trailing arm. I can't think of words right now. A radius arm with track bar. Actually, this doesn't even have a track bar at the moment. It just has the two radius arms and a ton of bump steer, like a ton of bump steer. So I am going to remove this completely and make it just a simple like link for now, so that I can get everything working properly how I want it, and then so on and so forth. I also need to lift it up a little bit, so that means undoing that and that, and I can grab it here and bring it down. That's a bit better. I'll go with that for now. Um, did that? Oh, okay, yep, it undid it from there. So I will go like this. Ooh, I should have unlocked it from there. Bring that back up. There we go. That is so far past the chassis. Actually, it would be nice if I could lengthen this a bit, but I'll have to shift the track bar over because this coilover is going to get in the way. So let's quickly shorten those. Oops. Okay, there we go. Track bar. I'm just going to do a simple track bar because this is only rear-wheel drive. That's not going to work because, like I said, I need to shift it over at least one block. So, if I go like this for now, this is made out of steel or aluminum? Aluminum. I will likely change it to steel at some point because, you know, transport truck needs to be strong and weight isn't a huge problem. And then grab this again. Stick it there. And then to take that and put it inside the spring. Thankfully, it fit there. And I need one of these on this end. Ooh. This might be a bit of a pain in the butt. Because this isn't going to let the suspension go up very easily. So what I might do, or what I should do, there's a 2-block gap there. So if I extend the length of this by a little bit, 1 block, and then bring this up by 1 block, like so. One of these. I didn't get much done in the last episode, so I'm trying to get more done today than I did last time, which shouldn't be hard. I also need to move this over one more. There we go. And then duplicate that. There we go. Ooh, but that's going to collide with the chassis. This is such a pain in the butt. If I drop this down by 1, this is just a temporary suspension too. It's not permanent suspension. I just want to get it working. And then, come on, that's, oh my goodness, I hate when it doesn't let me click on what I want. There we go. Okay, so if I just make it so these will be straight, it should work okay. Let's grab cylinder on it 1 by 2, and I need 4 of them. Okay. Go. And then I'll just make the other links straight as well. Why is it over there? There we go. This should work. And technically, when you're doing suspension, you want all your suspension links and stuff to be as straight as possible. Because then, as it's articulating, moving around, flexing, it just has a better movement, that's all. Especially when the links going back are straight, it'll make the forces and stuff go through it better, and the wheel will, the longer the link, the less the wheel will go under towards the back or the front, whatever. This video isn't meant for explaining that, so I'm not going to go into too much depth with that. I'm sure I've explained it in other videos, like making Peach. I'm going to mount them just inside, because then I don't have to do a huge arm coming off to hold onto it. Ball and axle. And I'm just going to keep this the normal length, I think. I would like to have everything angled up a little bit, so that I could keep things up a little higher, but whatever. Okay. Socket again. And there we go. Now, hatchet. Like so. Good enough for now. Alright, now I need an upper link, just to control the axle roll. If I put it too close to this end on the top of the axle, it'll hit that. This end it's less likely because this is the pivot end, but I'm going to put it right in the middle and do something kinda bit of a no-no, I guess. I would not do this in real life at all, but this is rear-wheel drive, and just to mock it up. So that will be perfectly fine. Grab the ball and axle, and then I'm going to make a simple Y-link for the front. That also needs to be the same length as that, which I kind of forgot. So, I'm going to quickly that there. I can measure it out and get the same length. What the? Oh, the steering belt. I hate how it makes that snapping sound. It's so sudden, loud, and like, the hell. Alright, so that's one side, and it should be correct length, so I can now bring it up here. That. If the links are a different length as the axle goes up and down, the caster will also change. In some cases, you want the caster to change as it goes up and down. Some cases, you don't. Right now, it doesn't overly matter. But from a preference standpoint, I kind of don't want the caster to change because I just don't want the caster to change. It also affects your handling. I believe, positive caster will roll the pivot point for the steering backwards. So this pin right here, it'll basically lean it backwards. So that when this tire turns right, it'll lean back a tiny bit. And just helping with forces that are applied to it and help your steering and stuff. Like I said, this isn't really a tutorial or anything, so I'm not going to be explaining a whole lot, just kind of what I'm doing and why. Right, so this should work much, much better than the radius arm. There's nothing wrong with using radius arms. Tons of vehicles use them from factory, especially like Land Rovers and stuff. I don't really like using them. Alright, so now if I drop this, suspension compressed with minimal bump steer. Oh, it has a tiny bit it looks like, but it's minimal. And then I'll be doing pretty much the same thing on the back. I guess I should have actually, yeah, see? Perfect. It steers much more one way than it does the other way. Why? Is this hitting? Ah, okay. This is hitting that. So, little issue that I did not foresee doing it this way. So, I'm going to do this. Ooh, but that's going to bring in the issue that I had in the first place with that hitting that. So, what I think I can do instead is grab one of these, bring it down to 1. There we go. Perfect. And now the steering should work. Awesome. Full lock. Okay. So, that is the front suspension done for now. Yeah, I'd say that's done for now. Now it's time to work on the rear suspension, which needs to be dropped down by 1 block, and it should all be attached with this bar here. So if I just get rid of that for a moment. That by 2. Should be now 1 lower than there. Yep, okay. All of that. Let's take it back on. There we go. Okay. Just making sure this is exactly where I want it. Can now get rid of that because it's just for spacing things. We make the individual rear axles, which I typically go like this for. Oh, there's one differential housing, just simple. I'm gonna go through after and add detail, make it look better, so on. I just, like I've said a couple times, I just want to make it work for now. And then I'll worry about all the details after. Worry about making it look good after. Okay. I could make one axle and then copy it over, but I want to do it this way. This way it doesn't take much longer. Well, technically it takes twice as long, but oh well. And that, like that. Turn it around so that the pink one for the bearing, quote unquote, is at the end. Also don't want to lock that yet. And then same on that side. I turn it this way so that this is on the end, just so it's not all bunched together and it's easier to work on and find issues if there are any. Alright, there we go. And then I will likely just do a 3-link like on the front. So I need to bring the chassis rails back. I believe this is already at its max length. Locked to. No, it's only 16. I'm going to bring it forwards by 1 on each side. Why did I lock that? Knowing I had to still do stuff to forwards by 1 because the hood and like bumper and stuff are going to be right in front of the wheels. If I need to lengthen it a little bit, I can, but I don't want to be lengthening it to the front very much. These just gotta come straight out. Like so. Hoping this will be right. I think I will have to end up lifting it a tiny bit more to deal with or give it space for the 5th wheel. Yeah, I'll likely have to lift it a tiny bit more, but we'll see once I get to that point. It's not hard to lift this thing. And then if I lift it again, I can likely make the suspension how I want it properly. I'm going to bring a 3-link out side of chassis. Differential fits perfectly between the chassis rails, so should be pretty easy. The spring on top. Ooh. Okay. Typically I make my vehicles with as much suspension travel as possible, or as strong as possible, so on. But this is gonna have to be made a little bit different than what I usually do. Because transport trucks either have a leaf spring in the middle with a beam in between the axles, which is called a walking beam, or the ones with airbags have a mount that comes down, a bar, and then the airbag on the back of the axle. I'm gonna do it more that style. I just need to figure out the spacing and everything because that's not going to fit there. So if I go like this, I can hopefully bring it. Go locking things before I shoot again. Hopefully that will work. Yeah, that'll work. It's pretty low, but I can't have anything on top of the chassis because it will get caught on like trailer and stuff. So if I go like socket there and then this one forwards, no, I don't want to do that. I should have kept the socket. Look that into first. That can be locked. Grab a grounded beam and go like that. And then grab this socket and put it like that. I'm just gonna copy the length of the front for now, really. Oh. Yeah, that should be fine. Okay. Oops. And then make 4 of these. Go. Okay. And then I need that one. And 4 of these as well, so that's 1, 2, 3. I think. Yep. Awesome. Stick those there. Ooh, actually, I need ones for this side too. There we go. There are the lower links. Exactly. Do. I should make multiples of these too. I only needed 4. This goes on the outside of the chassis. To grab more of these. Oh my goodness. Let me grab what I'm trying to grab. Here we go. Or rear axle. Stick that there. This should work. Hopefully nothing will get in the way of anything else. Mount that up here now. Yes, just enough space doing it like that. Okay, good. If the spring wasn't so big, I could tuck it in more, but oh well. Putting it closer to the wheel technically gives me a bit more ground clearance, so whatever. Doo-doo-doo. Yeah, I'll go like that, I guess. I was hoping to go up to the edge, but it's not how I was thinking. And that one go there. Yeah, this just barely fits where I need it to. Oops. Need to stop doing that. Awesome. Now I have to put in all of the three. One, two, three. Come in the middle. So it can go up and down. And stick them on. Go. And then take 3 of these. One, I should shorten it first. 3. And on top. So. I'm not going to lock these to the chassis yet. I shouldn't be locking anything to the chassis yet because I still need to adjust the length of it. Okay, now I need the middle link. That can move. Okay. Now I'm just going to pretty much do the same thing I did with the fronts and make a simple Y link, but this also has to be a bit high, so hold on. Should be able to just fit it. Oops. Actually, no, I do need that. There. Again, this isn't being built the best at the moment. Work. And since it only has one block of travel upwards, maybe even less, with how this is built, that should work fine. And then not that longer. I believe this is how they typically do their rear suspension, but I'm not an expert on like transport trucks or anything. I know general vehicle way more than commercial. And then need the ball and sockets, which the ball end goes on arm, and then the socket end chassis, like so. There we go, a simple Y-link. Right, 10. Instructions, save. And there we go, there's the two rear Y-links. And this one will go there. Cool. And then I can attach it nice and simply to the other arm, or the mount for the other arm. Like this. And then if need be, it's just just the one point holding the axles on. I also like making my vehicles very easy to work on, very modular, especially since I made the cozy on Scrap Mechanic. It makes things overall so much easier, especially the R&D process, research and development, because then you can easily change something if anything doesn't work. So, my hope is to get this thing at least driving in this episode. I technically only have like a minute left of my typical time, but I'm going to go a little bit extra if I have to. 4 of these, 2 of these. I swear this gear is only ever used for the differential. Like, I know you can use it for other things, of course. I'm pretty sure I have, but the only time I really use it is in differentials. And I wish we had a way to make a better locking differential as well. Because to make a locking differential, you have to make it at least 1 block wider, and then have a bar that can slide across the thingy, like in my gearbox kind of thing. Also, I've realized that I can make my gearbox a bit smaller because I can use the small piston for this. I thought I had to use the medium one, but the small one does work, as I realized in this buggy. Just a bit of a quick tangent. This buggy is also, yeah, just ignore that, the gears on the side, but this is also a 3-speed, as you can tell. 1, 2, 3. And it uses a small piston. For 3 speeds, or 3 gears, it only has to move 2 positions. Starting position, and then move over to 2 other ones, which the small piston can do. I wasn't thinking that properly when I made my gearbox, so I will be rebuilding my gearbox and changing it out in the Jeep, which is going to cut off releasing it for a little bit, but whatever. We need the... Really? Oh my goodness. I need those. We need drive shafts and the middle shaft, which are going to be a bit of a pain in the butt because that doesn't quite line up. And then I want the drive shaft to be the same length as this, so if I grab CV inner and then the inner axle, that is the same length. Awesome. Making it the same length will just keep it from binding and stuff. I can now lock all these into position. Looks like that's the only one that I didn't. Okay. I am going to copy these, but they will likely have to be a different length with a slip yoke kind of thingy in the middle. Or slip yoke eliminator thingy, whatever it's called. This is actually going to turn out decently, other than being on a slight angle. I used a smaller, or I'm going to use smaller crown gear rather than a 32 tooth. I'm going to use a 16, or whatever it is that I would normally put there. And yeah, I'm going to have to make some kind of slippy thing so that it has more torque. If I make this one that long, this one that long, I can then cylinder. These shouldn't at any point get closer. This should be the closest point they can get to each other. As the axles move, the distance between these should only open. That should work fine. And then we grab an outer, shorten it to there for now, then bring down a cross member. So, oh, I should really get back to working on the cozy on Scrap Mechanic. I miss working on that. Anyone watching this video that hasn't watched my Scrap Mechanic videos, quite some time ago now, I built what I call the cozy. It is a cab over, a COE, it's COE in capitals and then ZY in lowercase. And it is meant to be the coziest cab over there is. Cozy. And it's meant to be like super modular, and I don't know why I extended that. It need to. And yeah, it turned out really good in my opinion, and I really like it, but I haven't worked on it in a long time, and I have to make more up for it. Okay, so this is going to be a bit of a pain. I could use a belt drive, but the belt slips. I want to use gears. And then I also have to connect the gearbox properly, or temporarily properly. Oops. Stop doing that. Okay, so that will have to go like this. Ooh. I'm running into space issues. Okay. I want that to be underdriven. I want torque. And then I want a gear. Hold on. Let's go with a 20. Let's kind of wiggle my way up here. This down here. 16 should attach to that, but that's not going to attach there. I also want to use as few gears as possible. So if I go with, I move this up. Let's try 24. There we go. Okay. So this will have to be a 1-to-1 here for now. So I put in the new gearbox, but that is perfectly fine. Awesome. Oops, I should shorten this. And with where this is, being so close to the cab, and only sticking up really a block and a half, it shouldn't interfere with the trailer or anything. So, once I make the mounts for your box, or both gearboxes, should be drivable. Good thing that it was there. Ooh, hold on. That's not right. I'll likely build a gearbox specifically for the transport truck, but we'll see when that time comes. What's the... Oh, it's there. Okay. That one I'm just going to use. I want to get driving this side. Okay. So, sure all these bits are off at once. Oh, oops. I didn't mean to take that off with the cab. What the... Oh, I used that for part of the steering. Crap. Okay. Go. That for now. Reconnect that. So, that's still here. Alrighty, now I just have to put the dually on and adjust the length of axle. I should have also set up the brakes, but whatever. Not like this is a super fast sports car or anything. Big old transport truck. About locking things before I should. Go. Technically, you don't have to lock anything. It's just very nice to do so, because then when you're done with a part, a section, you can just click on it like the cab, and it all comes as one piece. So, transport chart. There's backward steering still. This needs to go down to, I'm going to drop it to 45 for now. Drop the RPM down to 50, max out the torque, which is how I like it. Change that. What are the motors doing? It's actually moving? What? What's going on? Make sure that all of these are the same. Which are... Oh, the motors aren't turned on. That's why. Here we go. Why is that being weird? This is not attached to the chassis. Here we go. Alright. The motors are backwards! Wow, that's a lot of gearing. It'll be nice once I get it all into one just big gearbox. I could also do something more proper, which would be the normal gears and then a range and a splitter. But get first gear into first box. Oh, steering's still backwards and it's still going too far. Go down to 30 and invert it. And then I need to reduce these a little bit down to 5. Technically having these a bit too stiff is good because then it'll support the weight of the trailer, but I'm testing it right now. Oh yeah, I still need to and isn't quite enough. Go. I'll get all the... Why is it going backwards again? Okay, so backwards goes backwards. And... Okay, that was weird. So slow. Oh my. I am curious at how much torque this is actually putting out at the wheel. But for now, I'm going to put a quick speed sensor on it. Go right there, out of the way. And then I will put a gauge on pretty much everything that I can to monitor everything. Each motor and butts. Okay, so first box, gearbox is using my typical shift and control shifting, and then the secondary one is Z and C, which I usually use for my all-wheel drive. So right now we're doing a max of like 4 kilometers an hour, and front wheels are still turning a bit too much. Alright, let's... Second. Oh, we're up to 9. Right. The third. And then another thing with using the medium piston on the gearbox is when you're shifting. If you hold it for too long past third, it makes weird forces and can make the creation spin and stuff. So, by the way, so third gear, we're doing up to 23, but because of the torque going through the system and it having so much gears and stuff, it's a little finicky. Let's start with the next one. So I'm going to go like this so I can actually see it move. Go. We're up to 50, 60s. We're up to highway speeds now. Oh, not quite highway speeds. Just over in the city speeds. And then we have, what, one more gear? One more gear. So let's go up. Oh, that was the wrong way. There we go. And we are now going to get up to... I need it to do at least 100, 110, preferably. Still climbing speed. Okay, so there's 100. So there's highway speeds. At least around where I live. There's the new highway speed. So anything above 110 is just bonus, pretty much. 120, that's what people usually do. So yeah, awesome. And, ooh, I really need to put a steering stabilizer and stuff on it. I also need to set up the brakes, because right now it only has the motor brake, which doesn't seem to work. If I put it in first, it'll motor brake, but let's really quick. Change that to brakes. Copy. And then I can move things around so that it, the rotors, and calipers, and stuff are in the right spot. And then on the outer wheels, I'm going to not have it show caliper and rotor, because it just looks weird. Here we go, now we've got proper brakes. Oh, that's the... Cool. And then a steering stabilizer, which should be pretty easy to set up on this. Got lots of room for it. So, what I'm going to do for that, I think, well, this changes, this gets closer to the axles, so what I'm going to do is place this with two of these. And then I can put a small spring on top, small coilover on top. And then remove the spring effect from it, so it's only dampening. 50 damping, 0 spring rate. So, and then I'm going to bring a plate up from here. Put a little thingy on it like that, so it makes up an entire block. And then if I... That should work. Should. I'm hoping it doesn't get in the way of drag link, but that would work better if I made it so it could move. Okay. Yay, it works. Awesome. Stabilizer, a bit of a limiter. and I'm just glad it doesn't really get in the way. Alright. I want to see if it can take off in last gear, so let's shift up. Sure it doesn't bind. And hit the throttle. It will start in last gear, but the acceleration is horrible. But it works, and it's driving, so I'm happy with that. In the next episode, I will likely... Sorry, I really like watching suspension move for some reason. I don't know why. But either way, in the next episode, I will likely have a new gearbox to throw in it. I will adjust the ride height, put the batteries and stuff on it, hopefully start the hood, and I don't know exactly what I'll get done or get around to in the next episode, but I'm hoping to get more work done because I did a lot more work in this episode than last episode, but this episode's also a bit longer, so there we go, we're up to pretty much top speed. So if you really wanted to, you could start off in last gear. It completely locks up the rear wheels when stopping. Wrong button. And yeah, I really need to change that issue with the gearbox. Man, I just want to see the suspension move really quick before ending the video. Because I have a feeling this will actually be pretty decent off-road too. Which would make it like a good logging truck. Stuff like that. Oh. This will definitely need some stiff sway bars on it. Typically, transport trucks don't have sway bars, as far as I'm aware, because of just how the suspension is set up and how stiff they are. But this one's definitely going to need sway bars. So, yeah. I'm just glad this thing's finally drivable. It likes to go backwards for some reason. It definitely needs some work, but either way. As usual, if you have any tips or tricks or questions, anything you want me to check out, feel free to leave it in the comments below. And as always, I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Lego, Lego. I'm just so glad it's drivable now. Drop test. 30. Bye.